All right, everyone. Welcome back to another how-to video. My name is DM Rhino, and today we're going to look at how to make a human bard. If you like this channel, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, please hit the bell. And we're just going to look at how to make a human bard, step-by-step guide in D&D Beyond. Let's have a look over here. So we've got our D&D Beyond, of course. We're going to create our character. And we're going to go down over here to standard again. And let's see as it loads. We just going to call him Bardi. And we're going to choose this person over here. And no homebrew, no expanded, none of this. We just want the core basic rules there. So you just want to click all of that out. No, none of that. Dice rolling is fun. Multiclassing is fun. Yeah. We don't use encumbrance, and we're going to make this guy public. Come on, click on public. There we go. Okay, now it's on public. Okay, now we're going to go down to our class, and we're going to have bards. Now, bards use their charisma. Similar to a warlock, they use their charisma, but they are dancers, performers, and they use magic to do so. You can also have a bard that does any sort of physical dance, right? You don't have to have someone that sings, but that's your stereotypical bard that sings or inspires people with speeches and things like that. But a bard uses their performance and their charisma. So let's have a look all the way down here. We're going to add class, and we're going to go to our level 3 because most campaigns begin at level 3. What is our musical instrument? Now, of course, you can speak to your DM if you want to have a different musical instrument. They do give you a choice over here. So we're going to take, let's make it funny. Let's take bagpipes as our instrument. Let's take a drum, and let's take a flute. Very simple. But I've had players ask me for electrical guitars, or cellos, violins, whatever. As long as it's a musical instrument that you can play, you're fine with it, right? And then we want to pick our skill sets. First of all, our skills. Now, bards are magical. They do use magic. So I always kind of pick Arcana, but because they're bards, we also want to have performance. So let's pick performance first. And we want to make this bard a bit more persuasive. So we're going to have persuasion. Because one, these two skills are related to charisma. So anything that's related to charisma is always good. And now, well, we can pick anything else, but as I said, I like to pick Arcana because bards use magic. So we have a look at Bardic Inspiration. Now, this is what bards are known for. Just as like a thief would be known for their sneak attack, bards are known for their inspiration, and they can give inspiration to another creature. So you can give a d6 as a bonus action. You can give a d6. If I remember, it says here d6. That's right, and you can inspire them. They can add that to a d20 roll, and you do get a number of uses. But the important thing is that your Bardic Inspiration die increases with your level. So right now it's a d6 at level 3, right? But at level 5 it becomes a d8. At level 10, d10, and so forth. You can see it gets higher and higher because you're getting more inspiring bard. And then we have our spell casting. So we know cantrips and really cool spells. Now, the interesting and great thing about a bard is that they get to use the most spells out of any spellcaster. And we actually get to see it later on as you level up. But they get access to a lot more spells than a wizard, than a warlock or a cleric, because they're inspirational, right? So they get a whole list of spells you get to add. So, there are a few that you can't add, of course, but they really are like the book is open to them if they want to learn a spell. We also get expertise. What thing do we want to have expertise? At level 9, you get expertise at 2 more things. So, yeah. We want performance in our expertise. Yeah, because we want this guy to be a singy bard. Yeah. And persuasion. And then we get, of course, jack of all trades. We get to add our proficiency rounded down to different abilities, actually to skill checks. Now, this is why bards tend to be a bit broken sometimes, because they are very skillful at almost everything. So it is fun to play like a bard that's not really good at one thing, but he's good at everything else. But for now, like jack of all trades, you get to add that proficiency to just about everything, right? And then we have a look at subclasses. Now, as a newer player, if you're not too sure what kind of bard you want to pick, there are a couple of subclasses. There's the College of Dance, Glamour, Lore, and Valor. Right, we're going to go over these pretty quickly. Dance, you get to dance with people, dazzling footwork, dance around. That's what it is there. You have advantage on charisma performance checks and unarmed defense, agile strikes, things like that. Glamour, it's your more beguile in magic. That's what it is. And you get the Mantle of Inspiration, which you can inspire creatures and other people in your party, right? So you use more magic. Lore, you know a lot more things. You get bonus proficiency and you get cutting words, which is really good. So you know more things in lore. And Valor, if I remember, yes, you get to inspire your combat and you get martial training. So you get martial training with weapons and simple weapons. So there are different ones you can pick, and you kind of want to pick something that can complement your party, but also be like what you want to do. As a newer player, if you don't really know what to pick, I would pick College of Law, because this means you get bonus proficiencies in almost a lot of these things, and you're a very skillful bard, but you get depth of magical knowledge. So you have a lot of magical knowledge that you know about. So let's see, you get more proficiencies, you get to pick more skills. This is why like bards are most DMs will say they're skill monkeys, because they just get so many skills in the end, and it's very hard to stop a bard from doing something. So if we have a look over here, we want our bard to be maybe a bit stealthy. Stealth is always a good skill to have. A bit of deception, yeah, makes sense, yeah. And maybe a bit of perception, yes. So yes, we get more proficiencies in those, and we get cutting words. Now, you use your wit. In other words, you can insult a creature and confuse them and sap others. When a creature you can see within 60 feet of you makes a damage roll or succeeds an ability check or an attack roll, you can take a reaction to expel a Bardic Inspiration. You roll your Bardic die and you subtract the number rolled from the creature. So you can cause a creature to miss. You can cause a creature to fail. You can cause a creature's damage to be less. Not many people use it for the damage roll, but you can do that. And this is great because you can effectively just insult the creature or the BBG, the big bad, and they're like, what? And then you've insulted them and they miss the attack. So it is fun when I say College of Lore, because then you get to use cutting words and you get to insult the creature. It's super fun to do that as a new player. That's really fun. So there is our bard. Again, we want to pick our background that complements our class. So we want to pick something with high charisma. What can be high charisma? Charlatan is always a fun one to pick. Let's see, Charlatan. We get skills again, and we get constitution, dexterity, and charisma. But then we get sleight of hand, and we get to pick another skill, because bards are skill monkeys, right? So let's pick another skill. Maybe let's pick intimidation, also related to our charisma. So we'll pick intimidation this time. And because we're pick in Charlatan, we get the feat skilled, right? So skilled, we have a look here. We get to pick skills again and a tool, right? Remember, bards are skill monkeys. So let's pick some more skills that we can pick. So let's first pick a disguise kit makes sense for a bard, right? So let's pick our disguise kit, which makes perfect sense. Let's pick acrobatics because we're getting our dexterity there. And let's have a look. What about... I think insight would be good. Let's pick insight. Makes sense, insight for a bard. We know when someone's lying. Being a charlatan, being a bard, maybe we know how to read people, so we know when someone is lying. And for now, we're just going to pick 111. You can always change it later, but 111. And we're going to make him neutral, right? Some advanced players or some more experienced players will play bards as chaotic, but for newer players, I always recommend alignment neutral because we get to figure out alignment as you learn the game. Lifestyle, we can make him, let's make him comfortable, not wealthy, just comfortable. And then we can add anything else over here if you want to. It's completely fine. Okay. Now we go to our species. Well, we don't need legacy. We need human. Human there. And we go over here to medium size and skillful again. Why? We get to pick skillful. Being a human, we get another skill. We gotta create a very skilly monkey bard. So let's pick over here. Let's go down here. All right. What do we want to pick? Oh, there are very few things left. But, you know, I like the fact that bards can jump around and do things. And there aren't a lot of proficiency or charisma-based skills left. So let's pick acrobatics, because it's always fun to have acrobatics. Bard. And we get to pick versatile. Again, an original feat. So what would we pick for a bard? This can be a bit tricky, but we get the feat musician. Musician gives us proficiency with musical instruments. As you finish a long or short rest, you can play a song on your musical instruments and give heroic inspiration to allies who hear your song. The number of allies you can affect in this way equals to your proficiency bonus. Okay, so you give inspiration to people, which is really good if you don't have a party of heroes, or if your DM rules that sometimes inspiration can stack. This is good. I wouldn't pick it just yet because I think there's a better feat for us to pick. And I think that feat is skilled because we want our bard to be a skilled monkey. So again, we're picking skilled as our versatile feat to make sure that our bard is skillful in everything, right? So let's have a look over here when we see the difference between the tool set. So we've got disguise kit, of course. We've got a lot of these other things. So let's go all the way down here to investigation. Oh, we removed investigation from the skilled. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, but that makes sense. Okay, so we have to go back to skilled again up here, and we'll pick athletics there. Okay, that makes sense there. And then we're going to pick animal handling, and we are going to pick history. Why not? Yeah, we want him to be a skill monkey. And then we have a look at our languages. Let's go to D12s. 1, 2, D12s. Let's roll them up there. That is a 10. Okay, that is a 10 over there. What's 10? 10's a halfling, my mistake. 10's a halfling, yes. And a 7, which is giant. Interesting. Maybe he performed with giants. Maybe he performed with halflings. We don't know, but very cool to have that diversity. Okay, now we go to abilities. Now let's pick our points to buy system. Now remember, everything's basically 1-1-1, except our dexterity, constitution, and charisma are 9. So first of all, let's make everything 10. This gives us a good base for our bard, right? A good base. So we're making everything 10, right? But we want our charisma to be the highest because it's a bard. So we want to increase that by 7. That gives us a 13. So we get there, 16, 3. Yes, very cool. All right. Now we don't need our bard to be strong, but we can have dexterity. It also gets a +1. So once we make that 13, gives us a 14 there. And our constitution, let's go to also a 13, which gives us a 14, right? Very cool. Then we can go, okay, I'm going to give our bard a, uh, a 12 on intelligence to make the skills that we picked more higher, because intelligence helps the skills also. And there's our bard, right? Very cool. Then we go to equipment. Again, leather armor. We get to pick another another thing. So let's just take a dulcimer, which is fine. And then starting charlatan, we get a forgery kit. Yeah, fine clothes, that's perfect. Let's add them all there. And let's equip a dagger, because we're not playing a bard that attacks people. We're playing a bard that uses a performance to cast a spell. And we've got leather armor as our light armor. Then we go next. Okay, character sheet. Let's click over here and see what it says. All right, and remember when I said bards are skill monkeys? Look at that. And we picked skill 2. So we really, at level 3, we've got a lot of skills. We've got expertise on performance and persuasion, which is really good. We have proficiency in almost everything. I think the ones that we don't have proficiency in is medicine, nature, and survival, which is perfectly fine. But look at this. This is why bards are skill monkeys, right? And they get a +5 save on charisma and dexterity. So it's fun to play a bard that has almost everything as a skill. Very cool, right? But of course, we want to pick our spells as a bard. Remember, we get first level spells and second level spells. We can see them over there. What spells would we pick? Let's add some bardic spells. We get to pick 2 cantrips and 6 spells. So let's pick our cantrips first. What do we want? Well, a good bardic spell is always Vicious Mockery. Why Vicious Mockery? Well, if we go down here, we unleash a string of insults and subtle enchantments to one creature you can see within range. They make a wisdom saving throw 13 and take 1d6 psychic damage and have disadvantage on their next attack roll. So again, very cool. It's the go-to spell for bards is Vicious Mockery. Then we're going to have a look. We had a really good spell. What about Starry Wisp is a new spell that they add. We can create a mode of light. You make a okay, maybe not quite Starry Wisp, because I think Mage Hand is a good one there. Mage Hand or Blade Ward, again, it's up to you. But I think Mage Hand, because we want at least one cantrip to be a utilitarian or utility cantrip. So let's pick Mage Hand, right? My go-to would be Vicious Mockery, of course. And now we add the second level spell. As we can see, second level spells have more concentration, but we always want to pick a ritual spell if we can, and a maybe a concentration spell. But let's have a look over here. We only can pick 6, so I would start off with only 2 second levels. So a good one, maybe a fun one to pick would be Silence. Now, Silence is really powerful. It's 120 range and it's a 20-foot sphere. But when you cast it, there is a dome or a sphere of silence. Any creature inside the sphere has immunity to thunder damage, and has the deafen condition, but casting a spell that requires verbal components is impossible. And it's a ritual also and concentration, which ticks off our ritual checklist and concentration. And it is very useful in battle. Like if you're fighting a wizard and you cast silence on them, they have to get outside of the silence. Right? They can cast counterspell, but you know, that's something you deal with in game. But silence is a very good spell to stop people from casting. So let's take silence and let's keep with the sound based spells. And another spell that I would recommend for a new player is Batter, especially at level 2. We don't want a lot of concentration spells over here, but Batter over here, right? So it's a loud noise that erupts from a point 60 feet and it's 10-foot range, and the creatures have to make a Constitution saving throw or take 3d8 thunder damage. On a fail save, half as much as successful. Constructs have disadvantage to this, right? So if you're fighting constructs, you have disadvantage. But Batter is a great spell for a bard. So let's get there. And it makes sense because with a bard, you can play an instrument and you can make a loud sound, and then all of a sudden, Batter happens. Okay, good. So that's our first and our second level. That's our second level spells. Now let's pick some other spells. Now, what would be really good? Well, Identify would be good. It's a ritual spell and it's level 1, so we won't use a spell slot. So let's pick Identify. You can spend time identifying a magical object or an object, so you can spend time identifying it. It's 10 minutes, ritual, really good. Then let's pick Tasha's Hideous Laughter. This is a fun spell because it is a level 1 spell, and it's a wisdom saving throw on a creature. But if they fail, they are knocked prone. They have the prone condition and they start laughing. And then at each one of your turns, at the end of each of its turns, and each time it takes damage from it makes another wisdom saving throw. It has an advantage on the save, but you can stop a big enemy with Tasha's Hideous Laughter. It's a very good spell for level, and it's one of my personal favorites. So Tasha's Hideous Laughter is really there. But we've taken a couple of good ones. Let's take two. Let's take two damaging spells, right? Two things that we know are going to do damage for us. Let's have a look. What could do damage over here? Is there one that can do damage? We've got a cantrip, vicious mockery. Wow, I don't think there is one that can do damage. Oh no, we do. We have Dissonant Whispers. My mistake. Dissonant Whispers, very good spell. Okay, this is a damaging spell. Also, one creature you can choose within range hears a melody, makes a Wisdom saving throw, takes 3d6 psychic damage, and immediately must use its reaction to move away from you. So it becomes scared of you. So Dissonant Whispers, a good damaging spell there. And we can take the next one. What would I recommend? Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave is always a great go-to spell. We can unleash a Thunder Wave within. If anything gets too close to us, we just, hey, there's a Thunder Wave. A cube of thunderous force pushes you away, and it's also a wisdom saving throw, so that's really fun, right? So yeah, for Bard, I would recommend these over here. And there we go. These are the spells I would recommend. There's your inventory. There we can see our Bardic Inspiration, the bonus action. Get a d6, we get 3 for now, and we get Jack of all trades, cutting words as a reaction. Actually, if you have a look, our reaction there, cutting words, very important. Our bonus action, Bardic Inspiration, that's really good. And other uses, we can have Identify and Silence, both ritual spells. Limited use, we get our Bardic Inspiration and our actions over there, as well as our attacks there. See, it's all up over here, so that's really good. And we can see everything is there. Perfect. But now let's see how would we roll for the attack. Well, let's say we're gonna use our vicious mockery on a creature, and it has to make a wisdom saving throw. Let's roll a d6. It only does a 4. So it only does a 4 damage, but it's vicious mockery, so it's okay. And yeah, that's how we would use it. So bards, as I said, are skill monkeys. We can see all of our skills there. But that's what I'll do if I played a bard. Now, if you like this video, if you like these how-tos, please click a like and subscribe. Of course, there are new videos. You can see them up there. I try to publish a video at least every day on giving newer players of a how-to approach of getting into D&D. Also, remember to check out my shorts where I speak about the monster manual. Other than that, I hope you had a great day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Cheers, everyone. Bye.